Tennessee's at-home learning series for literacy. Today's lesson is for all our third graders out there, though everyone is welcome to tune in. This lesson is the first in this week's series. My name is Miss Copeland, and I'm a third grade teacher at Venus Stewart Elementary in Gallatin, Tennessee. I'm so excited to be your teacher for this lesson. Welcome to my virtual classroom. Every day I've been writing a note to one of the students in my classroom. Today's note is for Miss Aubriana. Aubriana, I sure do miss seeing you every day. I enjoy seeing you work so hard every day and how you demonstrate leadership to our classmates. I hope you're still writing many stories and I miss you. Love, Miss Copeland. If you haven't seen our previous lessons, you can find it on www.tn.gov/education. You can still tune in if you haven't seen any of our others. Would you like to travel around the world with me through photographs? Let's pretend we are taking a field trip around the world. Join me. Today, we will be finding key details in photographs to learn about where water is found on Earth and follow it through the water cycle. Before we get started, to participate fully in our lesson today, you will need 3 sheets of notebook paper, a pencil, and a surface to write on, the student packet for ELA Grade 3, Lesson 16, which can be found at the tn.gov website. I'll pause while you gather your materials for today's lesson. Okay, let's begin. Today, on our field trip from your house, our goal is to use amazing, remarkable photographs from all over the world to begin understanding where water comes from. In tomorrow's lesson, we will make predictions about the water cycle based on the text, One Well, the story of water on Earth. While this lesson looks very different than your regular classroom lesson, there are some parts of the lesson that will be familiar. For the beginning section of our lesson, I will help prepare you for the learning and assignments. Next, we will work together just before I ask you to practice on your own with my support. Finally, I will assign you independent work for you to complete after the video ends. Please get prepared with 1 sheet of paper, your pencil, and a place to write on. I'll show you how I made a quick graphic organizer to help with this lesson. I labeled it Note Catcher. Please draw this organizer on your paper. You will use this note catcher to organize your notes as we learn together today. So I have 1 column for 2 new vocabulary words, key details, and vivid words or phrases, 1 column for the definitions, and 1 column for what I know or what I wonder. As a reminder, our learning target is to find key details in photos focused on water. Your job is to try to figure out what you will study in this unit based on key details you see in the photos, and later adding the information from the text we will read. What does the term key details mean? You clearly have listened in class. Yes, the key details in a photo are the specific feature, fact, or item found in the photo with careful study. Key details can be important information about a photo, like who, what, when, where, and why. These key details give us clues. I'll stop here for you to add to your note catcher. Our photos are not mysteries. They're all pictures of water. Your task is to identify the key details using vivid words and phrases. Now let me think through what vivid words or phrases means. When I think of colors, I think of vivid colors that are bright and intensely noticeable. I can transfer that to the understanding of vivid words in writing. If vivid colors are powerful and intense, then vivid words and phrases must mean they produce powerful feelings or strong, clear images in the mind. I can help you better understand by giving you examples. You may want to close your eyes and picture these examples of vivid words in your mind. Here's the first example. The bully bulldozed across the playground to get to the front of the line. Here is another one. Rain cascades from the sky, soaking the earth. Now, here are some sentences from Owl Moon by Jane Yolen. The trees stood still as giant statues, and the moon was so bright the sky seemed to shine. Oh, I can almost see the towering trees standing still and the bright night moon shining on the owl hunters. In our case, vivid language increases the impact or memory of the photograph. Let's add the definition and examples to our note catcher. I'll pause here for you to add to your note catcher. Now I'll show you extraordinary photos and ask you questions about water based on what you find after looking closely at the picture. This is a good time to turn yourself into a photograph detective. Let's look at this photo together. I'll pause here while you study carefully. Be sure to look for key details and think of vivid words or phrases to describe who, what, when, where, why, and how. I'll model the first one for you, then give you time to complete your photo journal. Did you study the photo carefully? Let me share how I found key details. First, I studied the photo. Next, I began to write what I noticed. Ice chunk. It's called an iceberg. The ice looks blue. Because there is ice in the water, this must be a bitterly cold place on Earth. Also, the iceberg is tall. I wonder how the ice forms so high above the water and why. Can wind move water? Thinking of vivid words, I think the iceberg looks imposing, lordly, and dignified. These words help me understand the majestic or grand manner in which it sticks up out of the water. When I use these words, I am able to make a mental picture, a picture in my head of this tall blue iceberg. I also noticed some water isn't frozen. The waves look like the water is moving. I got it. I think the word percolate. Percolate means bubbles. This water is moving and turning over. Thinking of the water percolating, I have an image of moving, bubbling water whisking around the iceberg. From the distance in the photo, I think this is the ocean, which is very, very large. The horizon is far away. This ocean looks ominous. Ominous means like dangerous, like danger is close. It is large, dark, and a storm or clouds are reducing how far you can see in the photo. The sky is a mix of grays, blues, and blacks. I wonder if this is a cloudy day or if a storm is coming. There is a break in the clouds far off in the background. Now this word came easily. The sky looks bruised. Everyone knows the colors of a bruise. I also noticed birds or something in the sky. I assume they are birds, but I can't quite tell. The photo focuses on the ice and the ocean. Are the birds lonely? Are there more? They are solitary. Solitary means without companions or friends. Is this picture taken away from most people and animals? After studying the picture closely, I have a clear picture in my mind. I also have questions about the water. Where are the waves going? Where did the water come from? Where is this? Are there icebergs in more than one ocean? You'll need another sheet of paper, your pencil, and a place to write. Gather your items. We'll practice filling in your photo journal. Please draw this on your paper. So again, I have 3 columns, one for each picture, and we're going to put key details for each picture. one column for vivid words, and one for questions I'm wondering. Here are the details, vivid words, and questions I had for the photo we just studied. So we said it was an ice chunk that's called an iceberg. It must be bitterly cold, and the ice looks blue and tall. Some vivid words for the iceberg were imposing, lordly, dignified, majestic, grand. And some questions I wondered about the iceberg were, how is the ice formed? Why is the ice so tall? Why is the ice blue? Can wind move water? Some other key details I noticed were some water isn't frozen and the waves look like the water is moving. My vivid word for that was percolate or bubbling. And some questions I wondered about that part of the picture was, where is the water going? Where is the water from? How do we have two forms of water together, the frozen part with the part of the water that is moving? Some other key details I wanted to jot down were that I think this is the ocean, which is very, very large. The horizon is very far away, and the clouds are blocking the views of the surroundings. A vivid word I had for this part of the picture was it looked ominous, kind of spooky or dangerous. A question I had was, where is the ocean and the iceberg? Some other key details I noticed in the picture were the sky is a mix of grays, blues, and blacks, and there is a break in the clouds far off in the background. A vivid word I had for the clouds were, it looks bruised. And some questions I had were, is this a cloudy day? And is a storm coming? I also noticed birds or something in the sky. A vivid word I had for that were was solitary. The bird seemed to be alone. And some questions I had were, is this picture taken away from most animals and people? And I wonder, are there more birds somewhere? You may have noticed details I missed. Please add any details you saw in your photo journal. Now it's time for the second picture. This is an interesting photo. I'll pause here for you to study this image. Make notes in your note catcher, please. Let's work on this photo together. We will be detective partners. What did you notice? I noticed the fog too. I didn't notice that at first. In fact, if I had not studied the photo closely, I think I would have missed it. Good question. I heard someone ask if fog is made from water. Did you notice the water appears to be moving swiftly or quickly? The white parts in the water are called rapids. That means the rocks are causing the water to twist and turn. This motion causes the white tops on the water. Your turn. Excellent. You noticed there were rocks in the water. Does this mean the water is shallow, not deep? I think this is a different place than the first picture. I saw this is not an ocean and it is likely a river. And in this picture, we can see land on both sides of the river. Did you notice the tree in the front has buds? I heard you say you wondered if this was spring. That is very different than the iceberg picture where it was bitterly cold. Time to add to your note catcher. Do you have any more questions in mind? Now that's thinking. You said in the first photo you saw an ocean and that oceans would be salt water. Your question was, what kind of water is in the river, salt water or fresh water? Let me hear what vivid words you heard. I heard eerie because the fog can reduce visibility and can be frightening. I heard peaceful and serene. Someone else said chaotic. That's perfect. Chaotic means full of chaos, lots of motion and moving all over the place without organization. Here is what I said for this picture. So one key detail we pointed out was fog is in the picture. It looks kind of eerie. And some questions I wondered were, is fog made from water? And where is the water going? Some other key details I wanted to jot down were that the water is moving swiftly or quickly. The white water is in the picture and it's called rapids. And there are rocks in the water. A word for that part of the picture I thought of was chaotic. And some questions were, what is making the water move so swiftly? Is the water shallow or deep? Some other key details were, this is moving water and it appears to be smaller than an ocean. We think it's a river. Some vivid words would be peaceful and serene. And a question might be, is the water salty or fresh? Lastly, when I looked at the trees, I noticed there were buds on the tree, so it must be spring. A vivid word might be new life. In spring, things start to bloom. And some questions I had were, what season is this? Does this season have a connection to the running water? Now it's your turn to study the picture and make notes. Are you ready? Examine picture 3 and add notes to your note catcher. I'll pause. I can't wait to hear your thoughts on photo 3. Let's see. I correctly heard that you saw tall, thin, green grass. Wispy is an excellent vivid word to describe the grass. It puts an image in my head and helps me understand the grass. Other vivid words I heard were soggy and marshy. Someone wanted to know if there was water under the grass, like maybe a rice field or swamp. Some super duper smart student said they noticed water droplets on the leaves. They had these questions. Where did the water come from? Had it rained? If the droplets are dew, where does the dew come from? And lastly, where was the water before? Someone else noticed what isn't in the picture. Excellent thinking. You said there was no body or large amounts of water like the pictures with the ocean or river. This picture was described as fields of spring green. Here's a question we will answer in our studies of water this week. Look forward to hearing the answer to, can water be found in grasslands? Here are the notes we discussed together. Tall, thin, green grass. Some vivid words being soggy, marshy, wispy. And I might wonder, is there water under the grass? Another key detail, there are water droplets on the leaves. It looks dewy. Some questions I might wonder are, where did the water come from? Did it rain? If this is dew, where does dew come from? Where was the water before? Lastly, another key detail would be, there's no large body of water in the photo. Some vivid words might be fields of spring green. And I might wonder, can water be found in grasslands? I'm excited to hear your thoughts about photo 4. Examine picture 4 and add notes to your note catcher. I'll pause. Here's what I jotted down for picture 4. Some key details I noticed were the mountains in the background, and there were rocks in the water in the foreground or near the front of the picture. A vivid word for that might be peaceful. And a question I had was, does rainwater run off the mountains and into the lake? Another key detail I jotted down was there is snow on the tops of the mountains in the background. A word for that might be frosty. And a question I wondered was, where is snow in the water cycle? I also jotted down that I noticed pine trees along the water's edge. That was calming to look at. And I wondered, why do trees grow near the water? Were your notes similar? Awesome job. Let's look together at photo 5, a different picture about water. Carefully study picture 5 and add notes to your note catcher. I'll pause. Here were my notes for picture 5. I noticed low waves, no sun in the background, and it was not cloudy. A vivid word might be bumpy. The water seemed kind of bumpy. And I wondered, where do the waves go? What causes waves? I also noticed it appeared to be a large body of water. Some vivid words for that body of water might be massive and gigantic. And I wondered, how many oceans do we have? Have oceans been the same for thousands and thousands of years? What vivid words did you add to your note catcher? You are on it. Let's look at one last photograph and carefully study it. Add notes to your note catcher. I'll pause. Here's what I wrote for picture 6. I noticed a massive wave. Some words for that wave might be scary or amazing. I wondered, where in the world would I find a wave that big? Can a wave like that happen in a river? Can a wave like that happen in a lake? I also noticed that the water on top of the wave is white. Some words I might use to describe the wave would be amazing, powerful, intense, thundering, rambunctious. And some questions I had were, is there a connection between the water in this wave and the water on the droplets of the green grass? Is there a connection between this water and the water I drink? What questions did you have for that? Awesome job. Those were some pretty amazing pictures with water. Which one was your favorite? Thank you for working with me today. Now I'll give you an assignment to complete after this video is over. You will need your last sheet of paper, a pencil, and a place to write. I'll wait while you gather your supplies. I'll give you the directions and give you time to write down the directions and the text. Here's our directions. First, you'll read the quote. It is okay if you don't understand it yet. Step 2, think of a question you have based on what you read. It might be a question you are curious about, or a question about a word or phrase that you do not understand. Step 3, underline words you don't know or can't figure out. It's okay if you underlined a lot of words. It's good to just start noticing hard words. Step 4, circle words that help you figure out possible answers to those questions. And last, write possible answers to your questions using complete sentences. Here's the quote I want you to study. It says, "The first drops plop down big, making dust dance all around us. Then a deeper gray descends, and the air cools and the clouds burst, and suddenly rain is everywhere." Come on, rain, we shout. I enjoyed working on finding key details in photographs with you today. We will connect those details and the corresponding questions to our text. We want to make sure to answer your questions as we read closely. Thank you for inviting me into your home. I look forward to seeing you in our next lesson in Tennessee's At Home Learning Series. Goodbye.